We are outsmarting ourselves. And every mistake I've ever made in life was something I now attribute to being so smart that I've outsmarted myself. So in this in this event, I'm trying to back off and stop trying to outsmart myself. I'm trying to stop I want to stop trying to second guess what my metabolism's trying to do. I want to give it the best shot I can to work like it's supposed to work, and that is by doing nothing. I constantly wonder how our species actually survived without all of the things that we have only recently discovered that we now say are essential and necessary for a healthy human life. So which came first, the chicken or the egg? Which came first, the food or the animal that ate it? Like they do with a car. I keep using cars as analogies, and it's a good analogy. When they design an engine, they start with what's available to run the engine on, the fuel. And if the fuel is gasoline, when the engine is designed, it's fine-tuned, tested, modified, retested, remodified, retested until they come up with an engine that can run as economically on this fuel, be as long-lasting on that fuel, that gasoline, and then they build the engine. And if you put that engine out into the world, it works perfectly. But if you change the fuel, if you decide by some stroke of brilliance that you're smarter than the people that designed this engine, and because you believed somebody that made a sales pitch for this alternative fuel and all the reasons why it's going to be so much better for you, if you fall for that and start feeding that in that alternate fuel, let's say it's diesel fuel, to your engine designed to perfectly run on gasoline, it won't work. The engine will be destroyed. We are exactly the same as that engine. Whether you believe in intelligent design or you believe in evolution, however we got to operate like we do, the fact is that we are supposed to operate on a particular fuel. The basis of our cellular respiration, our food. And that's how we're programmed. And just like that car, after that design is perfected and it's put out into the world in the form of every living thing, from a house plant to a human being, you can't then decide, just because somebody's selling it and has a very compelling sales pitch for it, you cannot decide to change the fuel. The machine can't decide to run on a different fuel. It can adapt to a different fuel, but that takes eons. Scientists will acknowledge that our genetic programming can take 50 to 100,000 years to make any significant change to the way the machinery overall operates. And that's how long it took for the different types of machines to evolve or be designed, however your time frame works. We can't have a vegan animal like a cow over here and a carnivore like a lion over here and expect, considering the fact that it took tens, if not hundreds of thousands of years for these two mechanisms to adapt to what was their source of fuel. We can't make that change happen, not only in our lifetime, but in 100 of our lifetimes. We are pretty much set in stone as to how our biology works at this point during our journey from the beginning of time to the end of time. It's too complicated for us to micromanage. Not only that, but it's a pain in the ass for us to have to micromanage this. Do you want to sit and have to calculate macros all day? Do you want to have to worry about, should I have taken this supplement? I didn't take that supplement. Some guy on YouTube told me if I don't take that supplement, my foot's going to fall off. If I don't, my hair is going to fall out. I can't be healthy unless, and if you, have you seen the supplement aisles at Walgreens? Have you seen these people that have piles of this stuff trying to micromanage their health, and they usually end up destroying themselves and killing themselves? There's no shortage of people out there now that are telling you how not to die, how to extend your life. I remember Dirk and Sandy Shaw from 50 years ago, who had a company called Life Extension. And they were selling all these amino acids, and I bought into that, and I had rows of L-tryptophan, all this stuff. It cost a fortune. Everything points to the fact that we're carnivores and we're supposed to eat meat. If we give our bodies the fuel that they're programmed, they will work optimally and we'll be as healthy as we could be. There are times where you might need to take some minerals if you're not getting them, because you're not living in the conditions that existed when this programming evolved or was designed. The soil back then may have contained minerals that are scarce today because of the way we've raped the soil. Fine. About the only thing I think we need to be doing is identifying what's not in our food that was in our food 50,000, 100,000 years ago for our species. If we came up eating some other species, then we need to be concerned about what might not have been in their food. And we still talk about that today. So the only goal we really should have is, how do we get food that most closely resembles the food that occurred 50,000 years ago, well before the agricultural revolution, which is where the end of the human race basically started. There's not going to be enough time for our genetic programming to sufficiently change to where that agricultural food will become our optimal food, will be gone by then. It's too dramatic and too rapid a paradigm shift for the machinery to keep up with. The conclusion that I'm making here is to stay out of it. We should stay out of it. We shouldn't worry or try to micromanage the minute by minute biochemical processes that are occurring in our body and managed by the intelligence of our own genetics and epigenetics, something we're just beginning to understand. Go with your instincts. Try to recognize if it's not working, what previous damage you've done, pre-existing conditions you have, and get to the root cause of what's causing some malfunctions in your machinery because of the way we've deviated from what we're supposed to do for most of our lives, especially those of us that are older. And unfortunately, the problem's getting worse because the younger people are getting worse and worse, sicker and fatter. Should be evident to anybody with half a brain that their advice, motivated by corruption, profit, greed, and pride, is killing us. Like everything else in this world, we have a choice of only what we do individually. We can't demand everybody do what we want to do, but we can have common sense, which is gone. So we have to retreat from their message, stay out of their way, do what we know, what we've discovered is best for us. Associate only with those people who agree with us, or else we'll be arguing from morning till night. Support each other, share what we learn, and if it turns out, years to come, probably long after you and I are gone, that we were right, then that message will evolve through natural selection, and everybody will think that way. And the grain eaters and the vegans and the meat haters, they'll be gone. Because the way they lived didn't meet up to nature's test of survival of the fittest. Truly, the most common sense reality that there is. Think about that while you take the rest of the day off and eat meat.